I'd like to call this April 1st, 2021 meeting to order. First item is set and adjust the agenda. John, are we moving the LEMP until next meeting?
Yeah, and Eric's with us, Kaylee.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, Eric.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
We have been
And-
called to order, Eric, and we're at the, Kaylee just introduced set adjust agenda. So that's where we are.
Wow, you guys are cruising, 6:01. All right,
The question was, I would like to offer, we can drop the local emergency management plan item. I did not have enough time this week to get that ready for the select board's review and authorization. It's an annual update, but if we could table, drop that from, it's item 5, if we could drop that, we can take it up at the April 15th meeting, if that's okay.
I think that sounds fine.
I'm going to hand the meeting back over to you, Eric.
Okay. So is that the only change? Is just the dropping that?
That's the only thing that I had suggested. I don't know if anybody else has anything, Eric.
Does somebody want to make a motion to adjust the agenda as somebody's got some feedback on the line, on the phone?
Hey, Eric,
Sven.
wondering at what point, if any, you'd like me to talk about the marketing grant?
Communication from the audience would be a great time.
All right, so that's early, right?
Sure is.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So can we have a motion to adjust the agenda as to remove the discussion about the emergency management plan?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor, please say aye. Aye, aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
All right. There's 5 ayes. Ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on, select board to approve minutes from, we have 2 sets. The last regular meeting was March 18th and a special meeting March 23rd. Does anybody have changes they want in either of those? Or could we move them as a slate?
I'll make the motion to approve as both of them at the same time.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on either of those minutes? All in favor of approving the minutes as written, please say aye. Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Hi.
Michael, did I get you in that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 5. So that's everybody. Motion carries. Thank you. Next up is communication from the audience. I know Sven has already mentioned that he's here. So Sven Olson, state your name and tell us about the marketing effort.
Hi there, Sven Olson, 675 Porterbrook Road, East Hardwick. Sherry had emailed me earlier looking for some information on the grant. So Lamoille Housing Partnership, LHP, is the landlord and owner of the Bemis block, as well as the haircutting building. I don't know the address of it. And LHP sponsored a grant. I worked with them along with a consultant about a year ago. We received an approval for a $100,000 grant with 80% match to perform marketing for the downtown restaurants and small businesses, and to develop a marketing plan that potentially could serve as a foundation for future grant applications to actually execute the marketing plan. And the initial focus has been, recently COVID has been set us back, so we haven't really done a whole lot on it until recently, this first quarter of 21, where a former colleague of mine and marketing professional has been basically starting out a stakeholder analysis, sort of interviewing folks in the town. Trying to identify other folks that should be interviewed and just generally getting a lay of the landscape. meeting with community members, most of them, I think, over Zoom and phone, given the COVID environment, and beginning the early stages of this marketing plan. COVID allowing, there's some, we have the ability to do some marketing training for local businesses, as well as specific workforce training for culinary. And that's about it.
Anybody have any questions for Sven or about the marketing plan?
Sven, do you mind just repeating the timeline on that? So you're in the process of basically developing a proposal to then do the work. Is that what I understand?
The timeline for the grant, so this is an RRDA USDA grant that we applied for about a year ago. I think the grant deadline, application deadline was March 31st. They were going to give answers out as of June, and with COVID, everything was delayed. So I think we actually didn't hear back that we got the grant until sometime in the summer. Originally, we were hoping to do marketing for the summer. Of course, we were also hoping COVID had died down. So everything basically got pushed off. So we're in the grant year, which is this fiscal year ending, I guess June 30th is the fiscal year end. And so we're in the fourth quarter of the grant year and looking to complete the duties under the grant between now and June 30th. And then so the major deliverable is a marketing plan. And as much as was originally sort of specified to be restaurant specific, really any marketing plan that markets Hardwick is benefiting all businesses in the downtown, arguably the greater region. So, part of what we're grappling with now is what is the scope of this marketing plan? Because there just seems to be a lot of input and consensus that it really should include more of the broader area, because we're all one area, we're one community. Bringing folks to Hardwick to eat also means they're gonna spend money in other stores, and arguably they're not just gonna come to eat, they're probably gonna come because they rode the rail trail or they were attracted by the wonderful new Wiggly Bridge, which will be a beautiful centerpiece of the downtown and cause people to want to stop and walk around. So, I think it's a becoming a broader effort, but I think also trying to, I won't say manage the scope creep, because at this point I haven't seen the marketing plan, but I think, there's been requests to include the Yellow Barn, or at least interface with the folks on the Yellow Barn project. So we're not either duplicating efforts or working at cross purposes. Likewise, the marketing consultant's been talking to Jeff Suwaki and Sean about the Wiggly Bridge and other aspects of the town. I mean, part of what we're doing right now is all this exploratory to understand who needs to be involved and who should be talked to, and so that we're not duplicating efforts or working at cross purposes.
All right. More questions for Sven?
I have one. I wondered whether, when this is all said and done, whether there'll be any kind of a report or something that would be available for the town to share with prospective business, people that maybe want to come and start a business in Hardwick, or, so that we can, back when I was writing my business plan, there was supposed to be some sort of market analysis that existed. And I know that in the town offices, there was something that was done a very long time ago that was not helpful at all so I just wondered if there would be some sort of product that comes out of all of this work. Is there some sort of report maybe?
Yeah, great question. I think the marketing plan itself will be the ultimate work product. And, my personal hope is that it can serve as the basis for another grant application in next year's grant cycle. Hopefully the rail trail's in at that point. Hopefully the Wiggly Bridge is done, and that in 2022, someone, whether LHP or the town or whoever, can go to USDA and say, hey, we'd like to execute on this 5-year plan, and here's what we want to do, and please give us the money to do it, and here's some community match. So, but the short answer is yes, the actual marketing plan itself, ultimately it's LHP's grant, but I have no reason to think that it's confidential. I mean, it'll be available publicly, and I hopefully will, if all the stakeholders and community members are part of creating it, hopefully it's something we can all come together on to promote the town of Hardwick.
Thanks, Sven. Appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna push us along to next, or unless there's anybody else here. I don't know who's on the phone, but any more communication from the audience, other audience people? All right, hearing none. Moving along to town manager's report. Sean Fielder, you're on.
Thank you, Eric. Hey, Sven, thanks a lot. We'll obviously keep in contact, and it's it's something that's going to be advantageous to be pulling information together to help market the town. There's a lot of positive things happening, so appreciate the efforts there.
Yeah, happy to. And at some point, I'm going to need to drop off. So doesn't mean I don't want to hear all your great.
Understood. Okay, so for the town manager's report for April 1st, just want to remind everybody that the town offices are continuing to operate under the state specified guidance, which basically means a continuation of limited access. And business is being conducted via phone and email, and we're doing appointments on a case-by-case basis. We're keeping an eye on the changes to the state specified guidance, and we're going to be adjusting operations accordingly moving forward. So, what that means now is we're doing this restricted access. And if you're not aware, COVID incidence rates for Vermont, particularly in the area, are the highest we've seen since the pandemic started over this past 13 months. This is why we are doing this. We're doing our best to protect our community and protect our employees. We want to make sure we're not causing a problem. We recognize that this is a challenge, and some folks are used to, as it's been for the last number of years, you just come in and conduct your business. But for our part, to prevent additional spread of COVID, this is what we're doing right now. So if you have any issues as far as needing business support, you reach out to the offices. We're keeping up, and we'll provide the service as best we're able. So that's what's the background is right there. With the vaccinations continuing to be administered, we're going to be moving toward more normal operations procedures. And that isn't just for the town offices. Obviously, that's for other businesses and other activities for all of us, state, nation, and effectively worldwide. So keep doing your part. I'll close with a couple of comments on this. So changing to other operational subjects, we just recently completed processing on our 2020 Consumer Confidence Report for the public water system. This is an annual report that's a snapshot of the water quality. That was in cooperation with operator Ken Lacasse, and town clerk's office is providing support. So everybody is aware. We're going to do a bill stuffer for the bills that are going to be coming out for the water and sewer customers. And we also will have the report up on the town's website, so it's accessible for anybody. It's a 4-page report. There's quite a bit of detail in regards to any chemicals that might be detected. There's 2 things that I'll acknowledge right now. We had 2 issues that the state flagged as problems for us. They don't lead to any issues in regards to the quality of the product. Go ahead. There's a question. Oh, okay, I'll keep going. We did have an issue on a sanitary survey from last January where the state has asked us to do a flow pacing of some chlorine injection, and we do chlorine injection. It's required for a permit for a disinfection procedure. They are of the opinion that the well production differences for our 2 wells, which is only 4%, would indicate we actually have to do an actual flow pacing of chemical injection to ensure the consistency of the chlorine residual. I recognize this is pretty technical. We don't necessarily agree with this opinion, but we're obligated to do this. So we're going to be investigating this flow pacing to get our chemical injection absolutely exact. The key endpoint I would make is this: our chlorine residuals, as are required per our permit, are within the parameters and standards of the Safe Drinking Water Act. There's no issues in regards to problems with public health. One other issue that we will acknowledge at this time is that we had a snafu in interpretation of our monitoring schedule for an annual test that is done 1 time a year on what are called disinfection byproducts. That is obligated to be completed in the warmer months of the year. It was due to be completed August 31st. We missed it, and we actually conducted it on September 17th. We were within 17 days of when this should have been performed. It is still in a warm time of operations. The test result, as taken on September 17th was well within the parameters. There's no issues in regards to the result at that time, but technically it is considered a violation because we are outside of we missed the August 31 deadline. So those two issues I am just calling out right now. We will be reporting those. The details are in the report. Otherwise, everything is in good order. So I'm just acknowledging those issues at this time. Additionally, on our water system, we had to also process a source protection plan update. That was due today and was completed yesterday. This is a 3-year report. The objectives of that plan are to identify aquifer recharge area for our 2 wells. And what we do is investigate that entire area and ensure that residents and businesses are following the best management practices. And the objective is this: we're trying to limit to the best of our ability the introduction of potential sources of contamination. We have a very good source water product. We want to make sure we keep that. And one of the ways we can do it is to interact with those in this recharge area to ensure there's no issues in regards to discharging of chemicals, what they're doing for operations. And again, this includes businesses and residents. So that has been submitted to the state. The follow-up is going to be that we will be providing a direct letter to everybody in the source protection plan area to update them about this. And the fact of the matter is we have to collaborate with folks in the source protection area. We want to work collaboratively to provide support to you. And, again, just make sure we don't have any issues to help ourselves out. Next week, we will be different subject. Next week, we will be developing at the manager's office. We're going to be looking into getting a grant tracking reference item in order. We've talked in previous meetings about a pretty significant number of grants that the town is managing. And with our new community development director coming on board, we're gaining other grants as we move forward. We've got 24 now in the pipeline that we actually are managing. We've got others, as I've just indicated. So what we're going to do is just have a basic reference item that's for operations, but also for our board. And it's just going to give the basic parameters of where we're at, what it is, timelines, just so we can put it on the wall and, make sure we're keeping track. And just making sure that, we're not losing sight of anything important and helping link things up to tie this back to Sven's comment about marketing. I mean, we want to make sure that things are in sync, if you will. So that's in progress for next week. We, on the grant subject, 2 comments. We have received notice on a small scale grant award. Recall I updated a while back that we had submitted for a VTrans small scale grant award. I might have done that internally to the board, not necessarily in public meeting, but we have noticed from the state of Vermont that we have received this award. It's $41,000. Combining that with some in-kind match of our highway crew assisting on a project, what this is going to allow us to do this summer is replace and upgrade the sidewalks on Church Street and Maple Street. Those are currently paved now and not in good repair. So this is pretty good news to be getting a $41,000 award. Yeah, it's pretty significant.
Don,
yeah,
is that on Church and Maple? Is that gonna make that sidewalk on the uphill side or the north side such that it will be plowable in the winter?
That's the objective. We're going to try to get it to a width that we can put the machine on there, Eric, and then we would be able to do that. So yes, that's a correct statement.
Awesome.
We don't know. We have to see. Sorry, go ahead, Gary.
Does that include West Church Street, or does it start right at the office building?
It's just at the intersection of by the memorial, heading that direction, Gary.
Okay.
Heading towards LVRT.
Yep.
Okay, and another USDA grant, another grant update. We did submit, Jeff was putting yeoman's effort into this last 6-week period, or 2 months, I should say, on the USDA RDBG grant. And this is it's not the Wiggly Bridge, Sven, it's the pedestrian bridge is what we like to refer to it as.
Sorry.
So we have the application submitted to USDA. what we have on it for just some basics. It's a $200,000 grant request, and it would be combined with an existing USDA award that we've obtained. And then we would be combining this with our already obtained LVRT Community Facilities Award from USDA as well. We're hoping to get notification by the end part of May. And a key point I want to make sure that we're putting on the table now, we are, as a part of the design process, going to be obviously having a community and stakeholder input procedure so that, everybody has some say on what that final looks like, if you will, on the bridge design. So what I'll close with is, I already offered up some commentary about how we're doing the office operations. And what I want to do now is just wish everyone a good Easter. And just a reminder, as I've been doing right along, please continue to practice the recommended social distancing guidance, procedures, and what's been asked of us. And then please do consider obtaining your vaccination when you have the opportunity to do so. So that's what I have for this evening, and I'll answer any questions there might be.
Sorry to unmute. Anybody have any questions for Sean? All right. Thank you, Sean. That was a lot of stuff. All right. So next is report. Tom Fadden.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. All righty. Hang on just a sec.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what we've been trying to accomplish anyways with the snow and the mud, it looks like mud season did show its ugly face over the past weekend. We had, I'd say probably about a half a dozen, maybe 8 or so problem areas that we had to deal with on Monday and Tuesday, but they seem to be all pretty well firmed up now. Monday was a pretty busy day. It was plowed, I think, till about 10:30 that day. Then we went cutting trees, and then we went into total mud season afterwards, fixing roads. But besides that, the week before, I know I had the guys there. They were out on the back roads trying to cover up some potholes with some material. And we tried to do a little bit of street sweeping. Well, it was damp on the days that we could. There were some days we just didn't do it because it was just plain just too dusty. Next week, it looks like it's going to be turning out pretty good. So we are planning on turning over the back roads next week. That's doing a complete grade on them. I know the temperatures in the morning are supposed to be a little bit cool, so we probably won't be able to get started first thing in the morning like we would like to, but we'll see what we can get done next week anyway. But besides that, everything else is going good. We do have one guy out right now for another week or so. Then we got guys scheduling vacation. I know Pearlie's going to be going out on vacation here in a couple of weeks. Let's see what else we got. Oh, I got an email from Doug from NVDA. He did inform me that we will be getting our grant and AIDS road program again there for some money. So it looks like we're allocated for around $25,000 again with our matching of $5,000. So I think we were trying to think about a place to do that, to spend some of that money. So I think what we're going to end up doing for that project, or having Doug look at it, is probably going to be Bridgman Hill, probably from the bottom from the brook to the top of the hill. I'm going to see if he can reimburse us some money. Don't know whether he can or not for the work that we did last year on Tucker Brook, since we didn't get no money from the Better Back Road grants last year. So I guess that's about it.
I have a quick question. I don't know if this is for you, Tom, or kind of for Sean, but I was wondering when last year we talked about this with the ordering of the paint for the sidewalks, and just wondering when that happens and if we're going to be getting whatever the Planning Commission recommended. I don't know if that's really like a pedestrian safety task force or if that falls with you, Tom.
Well, are we just talking about one color again? Are we just going to paint them white, or do we want them different colors, or what? And the other question I was going to ask, since you guys are all there, are we doing away with parking spaces this year?
What I had
All of them?
indicated for the good of the conversation, what I had thought we might do is pick up the conversation on this for the April 15th meeting.
Okay.
So we can dust off the task force information and then just, reset and reevaluate what we, came off doing last fall, if that makes sense.
I think that sounds good.
That sounds great.
Is that okay, Tom?
Yeah, that's fine, Sean. I'm just
That
gonna
gives
need
us-
to know about the parking areas before we start doing them, that's all.
Yeah, and that gives us time over this next couple of weeks to, again, just review what we had coming off the last set of recommendations. And it gives us adequate time, for what you need to be doing just in advance of Memorial Day, Tom.
Yep.
That's my 2 cents on that.
Tom, do you still have plenty of material for working on muddy roads?
Well, we went through that stone pile. I don't know if you remember how big the stone pile was there. There's probably 2 or 3 loads left there, and that's it. We
Wow.
do have some, we do still have some stay mat left. The guys were hauling that into the shop last week. So we do still have some of that, but the road seems to be firmed up pretty good. I'd say most of the frost is out. If it didn't bring this crappy weather that we had today and stuff, we were planning on grading yesterday. We had areas that were completely dry, and some areas on Tuesday that actually did try out, and they actually did firm up pretty good. So I do believe they are ready to roll over. So
Nice.
How much sand's left, Tom? What's the estimate there?
I'd say we probably got somewhere around 2,500 yards, Sean.
Out of, remind me again what we ordered up.
A little over 5.
So that's pretty good, huh?
And Bridgman Hill, you mentioned as a project this summer, all the way up, you said that from the brook up to the top of the hill. And in my mind, that hill has an awful lot of tops when I'm going up it. So are you talking about like up to Shepherd's or?
Yes, all the way up to the top. Yep.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And one other note, Eric, on the fire department side, since this rail trail, I believe, is going to start going here pretty soon right off, we do have a new side-by-side 4-wheeler that we're equipping with a new skid unit. The skid unit that will slide into the back of it will be holding 55 gallons of water, along with a miniature pump on the back in case there is any fires on the rail trail. And it will also be equipped so we can put a Stokes basket on there so we can help out injured people and stuff that's on the rail trail. So we should be good to go for the rail trail. So
Good. Let's hope there are no bicycles that catch fire.
there you go.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions for Tom? Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
All right. Next up is Hardwick Police Department report. We have Aaron. Aaron, are you on the phone?
Yeah, I'm on, Eric. Can you hear me okay?
All right. Yeah, great. Go ahead.
I'm still at the office. Long day.
Yeah.
Let's see. You should have gotten incident reports as well as a variety of different ones that I was able to compose. I don't know if you want to talk about any of those as to what you find useful or what ones you would find useful in the future as to what you received. Or if you've had a chance to even look at them yet. Maybe you want to just email me later after you've had a chance to look at them.
I'm happy to talk about them, except that after stirring the pot and requesting different reports again, I have not been back at my computer since then. So
okay.
I have.
Well, you can look at them, some of the other, and just let me know what's useful so that I just don't want to print off random ones that, that aren't as useful to what anybody, what you're particularly looking for. So yeah, there was a variety of different ones.
Yeah, that's great.
And
thank you. I mean, just to state it for the good of the meeting, I think I copied everybody, but I was looking for some sort of a summary or another view into these things that make it easier for the select board to digest the police activity. So so it sounds like Aaron's provided some things that we could look at that might help me or us. I'm hoping us. Hope I'm not the only one, but. And so, thank you. I don't know if anybody else had time to look or comment, or we just want to take it up next time.
Yeah, I took a look. Aaron, thank you for being so quick and giving a bunch of different options. I think there's, it was really interesting to see the 3 different ways the data you gave us looks. So in my opinion, I think the second one is like a really good way of showing the total traffic stops versus threats and all. It just kind of shows what's really trending, I guess, each month. So I just appreciate you giving us some options, and maybe we can choose one at some point here.
Sure. Yeah. You know, as I stated in the email, there some things are need an explanation. Just to look at the report, they may not make sense, or you may say, why is it showing this on one report but this on another? And so those are some of the things. Some of them do need a little explanation, just because I have the background knowledge, on the incidents or whatever. So yeah, so I tried to give you a little bit of that, because I could point out things that varied from report to report. So I tried to, state what the variances were.
Great.
Is this a good time to ask a question about, I have what happens with people who burn trash and do illegal burning? Is that a police situation, or is that a zoning thing, or what is that? What do you do?
That is generally, natural resources generally deals with that. A lot of times, I think Tommy could probably answer, but a lot of times the fire department gets called to those. I don't think it's really within their purview either, but
because how are we making sure that people aren't polluting on a regular basis? I have someone who calls me every time their neighbor starts burning garbage, and I tell them to call the police because I don't know what to do about that. But it's an illegal act to pollute the environment, right? I mean, what is this person supposed to do? Does that call get logged? Because I've never seen it on the log that we look at anyway.
it could go under, I don't know, it could go under suspicious. I don't honestly know. The best answer I could probably give you, Sherry, is to look into it a little bit and see who is handling those. My first thought is Natural Resources is handling that, but
so at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday night, who?
Well, and they have very limited
right.
resources as well. So I don't have an answer for you tonight. I can get an answer for you, or at least attempt to get one for you.
Yeah, I'd love to know, or if you could just let me know, and I can tell you what's happening and where it is, and maybe somehow we can get to a place where we get it under control. Yeah,
because I honestly, I don't know that anybody has the true answer to that. I think everybody has gotten calls. Like I said, I'm sure, the fire department has gotten calls about burning. We got one today. We went and it was burning, wood. I mean, so
yeah.
If we get a call, I believe we have been going to the best of my knowledge, but what authority we have, I don't honestly know without really diving into it a little more. So I would, rather than give a solid answer that I don't have the answer to, I'd rather just look into it, and I can get back to you on that.
Okay, let's talk about it, because it's a habitual thing, and they do seem to do it on off times when, of course, they, but it's noxious. It's bad stuff.
So
okay.
Thank you. And if you could share with everybody, that'd be great, because I don't, just curious.
Yeah.
This is Sean. Yeah, this is Sean. The other party that's involved with these issues is Doug Cassavant, or town fire warden. So there's another entity that would be involved in these instances. So we can try to see we can just map out in regards to a flow chart and how this all works. It is important to know how these issues should be addressed.
Yeah.
Aaron, you were going to comment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're done or not, Aaron, but you also had mentioned to me today the issue with the memorial subject there for the police department. Did you want to mention that tonight?
Yeah, I have that, and I have the part-time officer. I don't know. I honestly did not have a chance to look at the agenda today, so I don't know if that's an agenda item or if you're just going to look at that during this report.
I don't think we have it as an agenda item, so carry on. Tell us what you have.
Okay, so in your packet, as you know, our part-time reserve has been depleted down to one part-time officer. And we utilize part-time officers. It also helps our budget when we can utilize them, and helps keep our our overtime budget down. So we have had an ad out for a while to add to our part-time contingent. We had Zachary Willie who applied. We now have an extensive background program that we do, which includes polygraph, state testing, etc. We do an interview process with family members, former employers, fellow employees, etc., Zachary is a former Marine, also works part-time for the Caledonia County Sheriff's Department and would like to work part-time for us as well. Very impressed with Zach's information, his background, everything that we went through with him. And so I would like to hire him on as a part-time police officer. You should have his stuff in your packet there.
I don't think we do.
It's not in the packet, but it's at the office waiting for everybody to sign it.
So what do you need from us, Aaron? You need us to appoint?
Yeah, just appoint, and then everybody would have to stop in. I have to stop in and sign it as well. Everybody would have to stop in and sign the appointment, I guess, at the office. So, yeah, just a vote to appoint Zachary Willie as a part-time police officer for the Hardwick Police Department.
So, okay. All right, so we don't have anything, but
This just happened in the last couple business days. That's why it's not in the packet.
Is it usually, so it's usually we get that in the packet and we like read it out and approve it. Do we need to wait till our next meeting to do that properly, or is it okay to do it without it? I'm also curious what Aaron, you probably need that filled as soon as possible, but.
Yeah, I'd like to, because we've got classes set up for him that we need to get him into as well. The only, yeah, I mean, I can read it. I have it in front of me if you'd like.
sure, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. It's our standard police officer appointment that has been revamped as we talked about the last time. So it says, know all persons by these presents, that we, the undersigned select persons and town manager of the town of Hardwick, Vermont, hereby appoint Zachary Willie, police officer for said town under Title 24, Section 1931 VSA, with all the powers granted under this section and Title 24, Section 1935 VSA. Date of appointment is April 1st, which would be today. Term of appointment would be until further notice. And then it just needs your signatures. He's already done the oath of office and signed it, as well as Alberta as notary. Normally we have this at a meeting when we can be in person.
Yeah, we used to also meet the people too when we were in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when we can go back in person, I can have you meet him.
Does somebody want to? Or do you?
I'd like to make a motion that we hire, as the chief recommends, the part-time police officer.
Second on that.
Okay, I'll second it.
Just in future, I think it'd be really helpful to get a little more info ahead.
It's a little bit like, I just didn't expect to be doing this tonight, but that's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just ramming this through.
Any discussion? Select board? All in favor of appointing, please say aye.
Aye.
Barry's got an aye. That was an aye.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was muted and I just got back on. I was trying to tell you that I wanted to wait till the next meeting, but
Yeah.
because I think it's thrown up too quick, too late, too much.
Agreed.
I agree with
So-
Jerry.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna fall on that side too. So
So should we table it?
we have 2 ayes and nays. I'll be a nay.
Nay.
I'm abstaining.
And an abstention. All right, so the motion does not carry. So we'll do it next time. I'm just sorry. I don't have any problem with, appointing someone when we have time to just review it a little bit and feel more informed, but then, so I'm sorry. I know, Aaron, you want to get this done, but we'll do it next time.
Yeah, if I can I ask what kind of information you'd be looking for? Because we, obviously it's personnel related, and so we can't release, a lot of information, and we never have released any information in the past. The only difference in the past is that it's been in the packet. I don't know, I can't answer why that didn't happen, but I'm just at a loss as to why it's different now than what it has been.
Yeah, I think
Just
Aaron,
so I know how to, do things, so I have an expectation as to, how to do things going forward.
yeah, Aaron, I think for me, it's the reason why I'm abstaining is because it wasn't an action item. And in the past, it's been an action item and we've at least gotten the paperwork that you've given us. And so it feels like it should be, it should be provided ahead of time. I don't know if we can have, like, I know you've got trainings. I don't know if we can have a special meeting and have that be warned or if that's too complicated, but
We could do
it
that.
just, if there's something you need to get him trained for quickly. I've got nothing against hiring him. It's just that the way that we're doing it tonight.
And I know you do a full background check and everything, Aaron, and I know it's much more extensive than anything any of us would do, but when we're hiring a police officer, I'd like to just have the name of the head and just Google them quickly and, just for my own peace of mind.
Sure.
Which, I suppose I could do on the side here while we're conducting our meeting. But I didn't, so.
Yeah.
So, sorry about that. What's the status on, are we good for planning for proceeding without Greensboro starting July 1?
This is all part of the process. Is obviously we're going to have to get some part-time officers in here to help reduce that budget, but is there a solid plan? No. as of, I mean, other than what we have right now with not filling the position, you know, right down.
Yep.
And, you know, anything further than that would reduce the services to Hardwick.
Okay, so that's good. At some point, I think before we get to June 1, it'd be good for the select board to be able to look at how that's gonna play out against our budget.
Sure.
I wondered if there were any penalties or anything related to the COPS grants that we have if we don't fill that position because we can't
Aren't
do
we at
that.
the end of that?
Is the COPS grant that we got that we're in the middle of?
Are we in the middle?
I don't believe that it's anything to do with the COPS grant, Sherry, because the COPS grant officer is still, you know, is not affected there, is still
Okay.
employed here, so.
Good. I just didn't know whether there was some sort of penalty or obligation if we end up having to not fill that other position.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I there's not that I'm aware of because it didn't affect the COPS grant officer.
Good.
And there's nothing to my knowledge under that grant as to any staffing levels.
Okay.
Great. All right.
The last thing I have, whenever you're, just tell me when you're ready. I don't know
Yeah,
if you're
go.
done with that, Eric.
Yeah, go. Waiting. Yeah, go ahead.
The last thing I have is I talked with Lisa Fecto's mother several times, and about a memorial. The family would like to do a memorial. They've talked about doing a memorial granite bench, and she talked with me a little bit to see what if I had any ideas or any suggestions or comments, and they were wondering where they were going to put it around town, that type of thing. And so in talking with her, I said that I have, for many years since we've been here, liked to have an adequate flag, and that we haven't had an adequate flag here, in my opinion. And so I thought it would be nice to have a little area out front of the building on the roadside that was a small memorial area that could include the bench and a flag and flagpole and some flowers and done up nice. She liked that idea a lot. Has said that she has talked with the family and they would like to move forward with that and purchase what was necessary for that to happen. So I just I wanted to run it by the board and make sure that it was okay with the board that we did that out front here. And we don't have any plans drawn up or anything like that, but it's just the idea that we're working on right now. And so I want to make sure that nobody had an issue with that, and that we could move forward with that memorial. For anybody that doesn't know, Lisa was a more than 30-year employee for the town of Hardwick as a dispatcher for the police department. Passed away of cancer here 2 years ago.
I, for one, thinks that sounds like a great memorial.
That's wonderful.
Lisa she was, to use, I guess, no other words, was tickled pink to be up here in this building and out of what we called the dungeon, where Sean is now. But and she was really proud of this building, and I just think that this is a good place where somebody wanted to sit and kind of looks over the town a little bit towards the high school as well, and sit on a bench in a little bit of a peaceful spot, and with a flag flying high over them. Then I just think she would really enjoy that, and I guess the family thought that was a great idea as well.
So select
Any
board,
comments, questions, concerns?
yeah, right. I mean, does anybody have any, I guess that I'll flip it around. Does anybody have any opposition to Aaron proceeding in this direction?
Not at all.
No,
I
I
have one.
totally agree.
I agree as well.
Great. So Aaron, that sounds like it's a plan that everybody can get behind. So, and
Okay,
yeah,
great.
great way to remember Lisa, I think.
Great, thank you. That's all I
Great,
have.
thanks. Okay.
I got a couple things, Aaron.
Sure, Gary.
Okay, maybe I heard it wrong, or I just not know what I'm talking about, but it was brought up, and I've heard that before too. But it was brought up that, you know, we've lost the Greensboro contract, and you said that in order to keep things rolling, we have to hire part-time help. I don't understand that.
So to keep services, so we have an open position, and we're not able to fill that open position. So as well as we're down another position because that individual is off on military deployment. So when it comes to time for vacations, people are sick, et cetera, being down 2 people already, we don't have many people to pull from to fill those shifts. So what we've done in the past, we don't hire a part-time police officer to work a regular schedule. We hire them to fill in shifts as needed. So it's not costing us anything if we're not working them. It, obviously costs payroll when they're working. So this, by having some people available on a part-time reserve basis, many years ago they called them reserves. We've always had a pretty good contingent of part-time police officers in Hardwick, and so by having a few people, it allows us when somebody's on vacation or when somebody's calls in sick, et cetera, it allows us to bring people in and keep our budget at bay. It's in some ways on the overtime side.
Okay, no, thanks. I got one more thing, Aaron. I got a phone call today, and why they called me is beyond me, but they called me, and it was concerning losing Greensboro, and it was actually from a select board person in Barton looking for a little coverage in Barton, and has said that they weren't felt like they were being received very well with the town of Hardwick. I think, Aaron, you know who I'm talking about, and Sean, you probably do as well.
This is bizarre.
I do, Gary, and I know that we talked to the individual from Barton, and there was absolutely no question. In fact, the call is recorded, so there's no question of not being received well. The boundaries that we run into was they were looking for coverage in that area, and we investigated into what we could do in that area for coverage, and the biggest problem, the primary problem we ran into was no radio coverage in that area. We talked with state police, who has a Derby radio connection up there. They absolutely would not do it. They would not take on any other agencies, even if it was just for the times that we were in that town. We talked with Newport Police Department. They said they absolutely are not taking on any more police departments for dispatching, and our dispatching is not going to work, is not pointed to work in that direction. So that was where we declined any being able to do it. I'm not going to put police officers in an area that have absolutely no radio coverage. It's completely unsafe, and I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I told the guy I would bring it up tonight, so that's what I did.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear the comment. I'll leave it at that, I guess.
Well, I mean, I'll say sometimes we hear from people who say, who knock, who call somebody else, like this person's calling Gary, saying, I'm not getting a response, when really what happened was they didn't like the answer that they got. I mean, they got a response, it just wasn't what they wanted to hear, right? So that happens, and people will shop around for a different answer, and that, I think that's understandable. I mean, my other thing about engaging, or the police up in Barton, is it's hard for me to see how that benefits Hardwick. The Greensboro contract clearly benefited both towns because they're so close together. And if you're in one town, you can easily scoot over to the other. But I don't
Right.
see that as the case here. So thank you,
Did I
Gary.
miss anything, Sean, on our conversation there?
No, we, obviously we had talked to the individual that Gary is referencing, and we had, there was a follow-up request earlier this week, just on some other ways that maybe Barton could use the police force, but we had not, we had told the individual we'll be back in contact next week, and nothing was committed to. So it's just interesting to hear that we've been unresponsive. That's just, I'm not sure about that, but this key issue that Aaron has referenced, and also what Eric has brought to the table, we're not in a position where we can just leap to a community 3 towns away. So that's it.
Yeah.
I'll do a follow up with the individual. We'll check back in with them and just make sure we're on the same page here. It just seems like their expectations based on our conversation are just a little different than what you're hearing, Gary. So I'll check back in with him tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Any other police business before we move on? All right. Thank you, Aaron. Next up is item 1, select board to approve the NEK swim competition located at Caspian Beach. It seems like we do this every year, except maybe we didn't do it last year, but I don't know. Maybe we did. Sean.
Did not do it last year because of COVID.
Right. So basically, because Hardwick owns the beach, they request us, and they also mentioned that they'll, in their letter, that they request our permission, and they mentioned that they'll name us and HED as insured. So
Do we know what the date is that it happens? Is it after July 1?
I think it was
Probably
August.
warmer then.
August
15th.
Yeah. So I'll make that motion that we go ahead and approve the swim competition.
Great.
at Caspian
I'll
Beach.
second it.
Any more discussion about swimming out to Bathtub Rock? All right. All in favor of allowing the swim competition this summer, please say aye.
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 I think that was everyone. Any opposed? So motion carries.
I don't have that in front of me, Eric. Did that have signatures for the board, or how is that going to be authorized?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think
I can
maybe
just clear it
minute.
via, just the minutes, and let them know via motion it was approved, and I could sign off on it if needed.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Sorry, I
That'd be
just
great.
didn't look at it recently. I just saw the initial.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Next up is item 2, select board to review and possibly appoint a new library trustee. This is in our packet, and I'm sorry, I'm having trouble navigating.
It's Miles Tandy, and I'm happy to nominate him as a member of the library trustees, since Katie has agreed to potentially serve as a downtown commissioner. So, because otherwise he would have a few too many things on his plate.
I just have a quick clarifying question. Are there terms for trustee?
There are.
They're 3-year terms.
Sorry, who's that?
That's Jody. Sorry. Jody Lou Smith and Miles, we're here on the phone. We couldn't get into the Zoom call, but
Great.
we are on
Thank
the
you.
phone.
So
Yep.
awesome. So it's a 3-year term.
It's a 3-year term replacing Elizabeth Rosano, who was just elected. So this would be 2021 to 2024.
Ah, good to know. So, all right. So Elizabeth Rosano, who we recently appointed or elected, was resigning already.
Yes.
Okay. And any questions for Jody, who's chair of the library board of trustees, or Miles? Will we have him on the phone? So Sherry made a motion, right? Did somebody second?
I second.
Okay, great. So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor of appointing Miles to the library board of trustees, please say aye.
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 All right, so I think that's unanimous, but just in case, any nays or abstentions? Okay, motion carries unanimously.
Thanks, Miles.
Yeah, thank you. So it was good to have people serving the town in these various capacities. Still have a seat on the planning commission open, I think, right?
Indeed.
Just two? All right.
No, I took one. Really? There
Oh,
were
yeah.
3. I think I took one, so there's 1.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, Sherry, I missed that, and I got to do that update. Thanks for that. I'm looking at the full assignment right now, so I'll get that updated.
All right, great.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jody and Miles. All right, next is item 3, select board to review and appoint Wiz Dow as town representative for tax sale, which she has done for us in the past. I'll just say for those who don't know, a number of years ago, we saw that there were properties that were getting quite farther and farther arrears in their taxes, and those properties were not being sold at tax sale, and so there really was, like, when they didn't pay their taxes, kind of nothing happened. So the town took up, I don't know if we actually have a policy, but we started acting in a way that if properties don't sell at tax sale, the town buys them. So at least the whole threat of tax sale has some teeth. So we have a person that we send to tax sale to do that, to buy properties if nobody else bids on them, put in a bid for the town. So I think Wiz did it last year. I don't remember if it was, she did the year before too. But
I can't remember.
She's apparently willing to do it again, right? That's what I'm seeing this on the agenda. So I think she is.
Mhm. Yes, she is.
So unless somebody else is itching to get into this world of the glorious world of tax sales, we could have a motion to appoint Wiz.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion, questions? All right, all in favor of appointing Wiz to be our rep to the tax sales, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, that's everybody, I'm sure this time. Thank you. So motion carries unanimously. Next is item 4, select board to discuss formation of a Hardwick Cannabis Commission. This is on our agenda because we talked about putting, but in the end did not put on the warning for a town meeting this year to ask the voters if we want Hardwick to be one of the towns that opts in to having cannabis retail. And there were 2 things. There's retail and there's another category that's like growing and wholesale, I think. And what we said at that previous time when we were deciding that was we were going to revisit it. And so here we are revisiting it. And I think our idea was that it wasn't, the discussion before was that it wasn't very well fleshed out at the state level. Like the State Cannabis Commission was just appointed, I think last week, I think is what I heard on the radio. So the state board is just getting going. And I think one thing we could do is we could create a local board that would consider, what Hardwick should do.
And we had
Am I-
talked, Eric, at that meeting about having that commission. We had talked, Aaron had talked a little bit about the police department side of things at that meeting. We talked about maybe somebody from the school district. Just basically having a few people in town. Also, somebody from the business side of things, maybe one of the restaurant group members or something. But basically having, and also zoning as well, kind of working together to be kind of taking information from the state and then bringing it back to us and just helping us kind of understand what is going on and what might happen in Hardwick.
Right, because we'll have another opportunity next town meeting to bring it to the voters, and that'll still happen and take place before, I think isn't it October of 2022, right? That you could first have some sort of cannabis business. So even doing it next town meeting, so would be in time to be in the first towns if we wanted to be. So yeah, I think Kaylee, you're right. We need to, so maybe just to help form our discussion tonight, maybe what we could think about is if we do want to form this cannabis commission and we have some ideas, maybe we need to say, let's have a subgroup work on drafting what that is exactly and then bring it back and vote on it next time? Or do you want to just do it on the fly tonight? Or do people not want to do it? I mean, I don't know.
Having spent a fair amount of time trying to work to find people who would be willing to serve on a downtown commission, and that's something that people can get behind. I don't think we have enough information to try to form this commission tonight. I think we should possibly, do that thing where we do a task force to try to organize around what it would be, what the true, is it something that goes on beyond the 2022 date, or is it something that is really just determining how things work up until then? Or whether or not the town should have a policy or other sort of, I don't know. I don't know if a commission is the thing. I don't know.
So another thing we could do is we could just say, I mean, Sean was really good. Somebody, I think it was Sean, was good about keeping us to coming back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So we could do that again. We could say, you know what, let's revisit this in the fall and see what the state commission has come up with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just
What I
because it's so
recall-
new.
Sorry, Sherry.
Sorry.
All I was going to say is what I recall coming off it was January 21, just in advance of town meeting. If I'm not mistaken, the objective with the commission or task force, whatever it would end up being, is trying to decide, does Hardwick want to opt in or not? It seems to me that was the root of the matter. And what ended up happening in the January 21 meeting is everybody thought we need to loop back to this so that we can have stakeholders further evaluate, do we even consider opting in? That's what I recall.
Yeah, I recall the same thing. I'm wondering if we can do a little bit more than just talking about this again in a few months. I'm happy to volunteer to talk to Aaron and Kristen and see what their opinions are, because Aaron and Kristen seem like two town departments that would be directly affected by this. And then maybe I can get some more information from them and their thoughts and then bring it back for when this is on the agenda next time.
Yeah, that'd be good, I think. So what time frame do you want to put around that, Kaylee? I mean, I'm not in a huge rush personally, so give yourself whatever time you want to do it.
I'm not in a huge rush either, but town meeting, it comes fast.
Oh, it does.
I'll email them and see what they think about timing and if we can add this to like a summer agenda just to keep it rolling, that would probably be good.
So you want to just do it that you will follow up, and when you have the information that you want in order to bring it back, you'll get it on the agenda. Okay.
Kaylee, just make sure you're checking that Google reference item. The bill that's the only active bill on this issue in the legislature right now is Senate Bill number 25, and that link is in the Google Drive information. So as Eric just identified, the commission was just formed in this last 7 to 10 days. I mean, this is a moving target as far as what's it going to look like. And obviously that's a big reason why the select board decided in January, we don't want to advance this quite yet.
And ultimately the question is, getting more information. Ultimately, if we wanted to advance it, or if somebody wanted to petition to put it on the town meeting warning, I think our goal was to be able to provide folks with information about how this would impact Hardwick, so that when they're voting on it, they would be informed. So.
I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk now, but for whatever it's worth, I just captured a line and I was going to mention to the marketing guy if he could include maybe something about this in his research for the marketing plan, just around the tourism related to it.
Sure. Great. Thank you, Sven. All right, so we're gonna move on. If I can get back to my agenda. Holy cow, cannot navigate tonight. We're skipping, we voted to change the agenda and skip the emergency plan, and we're gonna get that next time. Item 6 is select board to discuss and review interim and permanent town manager replacement. And Kaylee has helped us by putting up some the information on our drive, which is great. I also talked to John Jewett earlier this week, and I know we had talked previously about potentially talking to him about the interim town manager. And so I did talk with him. I can't remember what day, it's all a blur, but earlier this week, he is interested in doing it. He thinks it, would work out after considering it more and talking it over at home. He thinks it'll work out well for him if, as we kind of said, putting a timeline on that from starting in the beginning of June and probably going through the end of August was, I think, what we were talking about as a rough time frame. And he's thinking of he mentioned a 24 to 32 hours a week kind of just a per hour thing. And I think that would be doable. It wouldn't be, it's an interim position. It's not looking to necessarily do all of everything all the time that is currently happening out of the town manager's office. We need to just keep things rolling while we hire a permanent replacement, while we do the search. So, yeah. And I have heard from some town employees that they feel it would be, that would be a good fit for them as well. I think there's a feeling that it wouldn't be very disruptive. It would be easier to have somebody come back in who's been here and not have, if we bring in somebody new, then there's that learning curve and just trying to figure out who everybody is and how things work. And granted, John hasn't been here in quite a while, but at least the people are mostly the same. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
So are you looking for some sort of a motion to move this forward?
Yeah. So, I mean, as one person of the five of us, my feeling is that it would be great to have a motion to have one of us, if we want to move, if everybody agrees that that would be a good way to move for the town, have one of us engage in negotiating a contract that we would then have to validate at a future time.
So I thank you both Sean and Kaylee for working up that list, because that helps to give it some sort of form. But you know, I hate to search for a town interim and then search for a full-time. So I would like to make that motion that we, you know, the ease of having John come in, he knows everybody, he knows a lot about how everything works. It'll just, and especially with the difficulty of the pandemic, hopefully, so, you know, going away as we get to the fall. But yeah, so I'd like to make that motion that we hired John, and for the interim position, the details to be determined and worked out from, do you want to do that, Eric?
I can.
And bring it back?
I can. That was a long motion, but Sherry just made a
I
motion.
know, I never do good motion. I'm sorry. I'm not good at it. Motion to hire John as the interim.
Second.
All right, that's great. We got a motion and a second. Discussion. How do people feel about this? And
That was all part of my motion. That was all the
I know.
discussion I had.
Eric, can I just add to the motion? I think it might behoove us to add the time frame to the motion,
Mhm.
at least the initial time frame, which is theoretically June 1st to the end of September. We could reevaluate if that needs to be longer, or October. Maybe we just have some time frame in that motion.
let's not, I would say let's not try to amend, well, you can amend the motion if you like. It's certainly your prerogative. We could also see what we could work out in a contract that will come back to us.
Yeah, because then we'll have to approve that contract.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it might be interesting to entertain the slight overlap, just so that Sean can still be here and help, you know, even if it's like a few days or a week.
Yeah.
Work together to kind of catch up, you know?
Yeah, because it's been 2.5 years and
Yeah.
we've been going full steam ahead. So,
So more than the 4 hours that I had on overlap.
well, maybe.
Okay.
Well, or you can discuss that with John.
No, John comes in on May 20th or something, maybe, and there's a week there where they sort of can work together or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It works. Yeah, let's try to work something out. All right. Any other discussion on this item? Okay, so the motion is to work on hiring John Jewett as our interim town manager, and I will try to get some contract details in order that I can bring back to us at a future meeting. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye. I got 3 ayes. Oh,
Aye.
Aye.
There.
all right. Okay, sorry if I missed you. I'm all right, so that's all 5. So motion carries. Kaylee?
Eric, I just wanted to add something really quickly about that timeline, if that's okay. So I'm just hoping maybe tonight we could also talk a little bit about, I don't think it needs to be very long, but about who, or in my mind, the interim manager, this is amazing if we're able to make it work with John, but we still need to do a lot of work pretty quickly to start thinking about hiring a more full-time town manager. So the idea of kind of doing both simultaneously. I'm just wondering if we should put it on the agenda for maybe our first May meeting to talk about, maybe we get more information from the league then, or we just make sure that we talk about this in early May.
I agree. Yeah.
right? Because we also usually try to invite members of the of town, other folks to be involved in the interview process and all that stuff. So we might just have to think about that.
Yeah, we should start forming that group, and
Mhm.
we also need to read. I mean, honestly, I haven't done this. I just haven't, but I want to go back and review the materials that we had from last time, and just we had the process, and I don't know. I just need to go through that again, and I'd like to share that out with anybody who doesn't have it.
Maybe and maybe the first meeting in May is too late. I'm just thinking about that would theoretically be, that is Sean's last month really working with us. So maybe it needs to be for our next April meeting that we have a draft job description and some ideas about that group, and maybe get those materials in the board folder. I'm happy to help with any of that, but it's
we still
crazy.
need.
It's already April 1st.
Yeah, we do need to keep pushing this forward. So we probably, I mean, this is an important thing. I mean, the select board only has one direct report, and it's the town manager. So this is kind of an important part of our job. So yeah, let's keep moving it forward. So yeah, let's put it on the agenda again next time, and we'll get updates and keep fleshing it out. We'll get updates about interim town manager, and keep fleshing out moving the search forward for a permanent one. All right. Sorry, you guys, I'm tired tonight. All right, so next up is item 7, select board to discuss residents' homestead penalty concerns. And I am not sure that we're prepared to do this, because I don't know if everybody got to read through all the nitty gritty. Sean sent us out the relevant statute, which wasn't terribly long, but does take some reading to interpret. And basically, reading through it, basically says that if somebody, in the case of somebody disputing in a case like the one we have, where someone has filed their homestead declaration late and are penalized for it, they can appeal to the legislative body of the municipality, which is us, the select board, for to have that fee abated. But the way they do that is they need to submit a letter to the town treasurer. The town treasurer needs to forward it to the select board with a recommendation. I don't think we have that yet. And then the select board can review it, but then the only way we can abate is if we find there's a hardship. There are 4 distinct reasons that there could be a hardship, and we need to supply a detailed written account of why we decide to abate or not abate.
Eric,
yeah.
Alberta sent, as treasurer, did send through an item late this afternoon, so it went as an email.
So we do have that.
It was late in the afternoon. And this
Okay.
we asked for a town's attorney just to give us some guidance and make sure we're doing things procedurally correct. We just got that feedback and some clearance on some issues today. So I can read back you want to table this till the next meeting? Is that what I'm sensing?
Well, I was going to, because I wasn't aware we had the recommendation. That was what I was going to recommend. But the only other option we have, I think, reading the statute, is we could punt this to the Board of Civil Authority. But since we're all members of the Board of Civil Authority, that means that, that it would be like, it's us and the Justice of the Peace, and I can't remember if there's anybody else. But it basically means we'd have to call
The listers.
another. Oh yeah, listers.
Part of the Board of Civil Authority.
So we could do that, and then that's a larger group that's the group that reviews tax abatements more generally. So we could delegate it off to that, but then that's still, I mean, it's another meeting for us.
I'd like to see that happen, in just because this is a penalty that we are, as a town, are putting on here, unlike the penalties that the state would potentially apply.
Now, the penalty is state statute.
I
but-
understand that, but it's a handwritten note on their homestead, on their tax form.
So, sorry, Sherry, you're saying you'd like to push this to the
I'd like to push it
BCA?
to Board of Civil Authority. I think that that is how it's been handled always in the past. For the last 13 years that I've been, we've never done this on a select board meeting.
Just a point of clarification, the town attorney's opinion on this was that the governing body would make an initial determination. So I guess that's what's happening now. There'd be an initial determination based on the input of the treasurer. And if the governing body made the determination based on the input of the treasurer, then it would go to the BCA. That's what Bill outlined.
I don't think so. But maybe I read it differently.
So they're trying to have the town swallow this penalty. Am I right in saying that?
So my understanding, which could be wrong, is that the town applied the penalty,
Yes.
and it's a penalty that's above and beyond taxes that they're going to pay, and they're just asking. The letter essentially says, "We're sorry, our tax preparer put this in late, and could we please have the penalty abated?"
I mean, the penalty is because they were late.
Correct.
Then what kind of precedent would that set? If we're gonna kick off someone else's penalty, then everyone in town could be late.
Well, I
and
want
be
to
the
know
same.
how many penalties we've put on this year, in the year of a pandemic. That's what I would like to know. If we are gonna press for this one, do we have others? Or is this the only one?
Yeah, Sherry, we, in the fall, there was a similar request from somebody who had gotten a penalty. And I believe we made the decision to keep that penalty.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't either.
That was,
At all.
I'll look it up.
Thank you, Kaylee. I'd like to figure out, I feel like we're getting to a little discussion about the merits of this request. Are we in fact taking this up tonight, or are we punting it? I didn't even receive. I'm sorry. Part of it is I just wasn't available this afternoon, so I didn't read Alberta's email, but I'm feeling ill prepared to discuss tonight. My read of the statute was that the town, where is it? Let me just bring that up. Sorry. Bear with me. Homestead. Governing body. Blah, blah, blah.
I'd like to interject something, please. It's my belief that you can file your homestead paperwork before your taxes. They don't have to be at the same time. They can be
That's
independent documents. So therefore, in my opinion, it really is not relevant as to when the income taxes were filed and the governor saying that you can file them late, because the homestead tax filing could still have been done in a timely manner.
But in fact, the homestead filing had its own deadline that didn't change. So you're
Correct.
right. I just want to read off this part that I think is pertinent, the statute, and this is from section J. The legislative body of a municipality shall have authority in cases of hardship to abate all or any portion of a penalty appealable to the listers under this section, and any tax, penalty, and interest arising out of a corrected property classification under this section. And that's what we have. And shall in detail in writing, or shall state in detail in writing, the reasons for its grant or denial of the requested abatement. The legislative body may delegate this abatement authority to the Board of Civil Authority or the Board of Abatement for the municipality. So I think that says we can delegate it to the Board of Civil Authority. And it sounds like that's what Sherry would prefer to do,
Yes.
just because that brings in a broader group. And
I would
think,
agree with Sherry on that. I would, however, say that if I'm not mistaken, Sean, did you not say that the select board first has to make a determination, then it goes to the Board of Civil Authority?
That's what Sherry's suggesting, Michael.
Right.
Oh,
So we would have to make a decision first.
no,
and then
I'm not suggesting that. No, that is
Oh,
incorrect.
sorry.
What
sorry.
I'm
I
saying is
misinterpreted.
that in 13 years, we've never done this sort of thing, this action in a select board meeting. It's always been done as a Board of Civil Authority. Because that also includes listers and other, yeah.
justice of the peace.
I just think it's helpful to be able to do that. And the people, in the times that we've done it in the past, unless Kaylee's got me wrong, the people get to come, to the meeting. You get to have a discussion with them about what's happened. Because this is, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and all the things that have come up are things that we would discuss in a Board of Civil Authority meeting, things like precedent setting, what are the dates that are relevant, the whole thing. I mean, it's a quasi judicial proceeding. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Kaylee, did you find something?
So that can basically be our recommendation, is that we hold a BOC meeting to determine the outcome of this request.
I think according to statute, it says the legislative body, which is in our case is the select board, may delegate this abatement authority to the Board of Civil Authority. So I think what we could do tonight is say we want to delegate this to the Board of Civil Authority.
Do we need a motion for that, Eric?
I think it wouldn't hurt to have it.
I think Sherry already kind of gave
just by clearing my throat, maybe.
Well, somebody want to make a motion that we delegate this abatement to the Board of Civil Authority?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion about a motion to delegate this to the Board of Civil Authority? I'll just say it's another meeting. I'm all right with it. All right, hearing no other discussion, all in favor of sending it to the BCA, please say aye.
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 Gary?
Nay.
Nay. All right, so we have motion carries, it'll go to the BCA, which means we have 4 ayes, 1 nay, and it'll go and we'll all get to meet again.
Well, we don't all have to be part of the Board of Civil Authority. We are all officers, but we are not. Alberta organizes that meeting.
Yes, but we should go. I mean, I would encourage
Yes.
everyone to go.
Well, sure, but depends on when Alberta organizes it. You never know.
Okay. All right. Next, thank you, everyone. Next is select board reports. Wow, good. Who has reports?
I have just information from Solid Waste District.
Okay.
we have apparently there are posters all around town. The Hardwick household hazardous waste collection is set for July 10th. So look for information. They put
At the
posters
town
all over the
garage?
place at the town garage. Yeah.
Okay.
And then last meeting, I announced that they had hired Lisa Leota as the new manager of Solid Waste District. Is that right, Sean? Director or manager? I can't remember. Executive director, maybe.
I think it's executive director, Sherry.
Yeah, because Kathleen Gent is retiring, so that's happened there.
The
And then
select board is copied on that too, I believe. I'm just saying congrats to her and thanks to the previous executive director for all her work these many past years.
Great. Any other select board reports? I'll try to make a quick report that the yellow barn is still proceeding, still meeting weekly at least with the prime players, and looks like we're still on track for a fall groundbreaking. I had something else. Hang on, bear with me. Oh no, maybe it's a new business. All right, so do we
I have
have?
a really quick one, Eric.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that the Hardwick Recreation Easter
Oh.
egg hunt event is being postponed until the
Oh.
17th due to the current cases in Hardwick. So to make sure that we're safe, we're postponing that until the 17th.
Sounds like a good move. All right, any new business?
So I have information about the charrette possibility for design of the public engagement and the design of the pedestrian bridge. I sent out an email to everyone that is a proposal. I did some research by contacting Paul Costello over at,
Yeah.
the rural development, the people,
Yes.
right now it escapes me, but the community visit, that's kind of their thing, visioning Vermont, etc. Asked him whether that organization does this sort of thing because I've never been to a charrette and I don't know a lot about them. And he said that they did not, but he passed me information about this gentleman, David Raphael, who has worked in many, lots of different projects. Most recently, the Burlington Bike Path, on doing planning, and he's a landscape architect and a planner. So I had a great conversation with him on Monday where I told him all about the pedestrian bridge and what we've been working on and the grant that's been worked on and being submitted. And also I shared with him Bob Neald's assessment so that he'd have some visual on the information. And he offered to prepare a proposal because it's exactly what he does, those sort of things. He's sent a proposal for a community workshop to plan the future Hardwick pedestrian bridge. And I sent that to everybody. And I just, I'm not quite sure going forward whether I should continue to pursue it or whether we want to have Sean follow up with him to see, it just seems like it offers a pretty darn good option for getting community engagement around the design. And he's also offering to work with Bob Neald, who is an engineer that we are familiar with. So, yeah. Did
Kaylee, did
people
you
get a
raise your
chance to look at that?
I got a chance to look at it, sharing it. I think that it's really cool. I mean, would be amazing to have a third party help us in that process. In my experience with that kind of work in community, it is it takes a huge amount of capacity to do, and having somebody who has experience with it just makes it that much better. My only question, and maybe this is kind of pushing it to Sean to do a follow-up and a little bit of research, is if we are getting USDA funding, even if we're using match funds for something like this, do we have to go through an RFP process for anybody that we hire, even if it's a consultant? So I just wonder if maybe we could get a little more information, table it for our next meeting, and then have it be an item in our next agenda. So that way we can really make sure that we can take some action on it at our next meeting.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, I think it sounds like a great, I mean, I guess I just agree everything that Kaylee just said. You know, that the processes are difficult, and somebody who can shepherd the process along would be really helpful in actually getting some community input that would be useful. I think in some ways you can get community input that's not useful if you don't direct everybody's energy towards the questions that you want to answer. I also think it'd be worth, like, and my guess is that it wouldn't have to go through an RFP process, because I don't think that this specific thing was called out in the grant budget, but it'd be good to verify that.
And isn't there a threshold cash wise, like the amount of expenditure wise that requires the RFP? Because he's putting this proposal, I mean, the price tag he's putting on it is $3,800.
And the other question,
I thought it was a $10,000 threshold.
it probably varies by grant, but I think that the other question that I would have is, would the timing matter? Like, if we wanted to do this, and could we work it in, and we were going to pay for it out of town funds that we've already committed to the bridge? Is there a way, you know, if we did it right away, which in some ways would be really good to get that information going, would we be able to count it as a match toward any of the grants that we currently have? Or is that not an issue because we already have enough grant already committed for other things, other parts of the project?
I'm not sure. I know that part of our discussion was that, you know, we don't know exactly when we're going to hear about the grant, but we assumed that if we did something like this, that we'd need to do it outside, or at least like have an indoor-outdoor thing, so that for social distancing and all that jazz. So we looked at the end of May for timing wise, just because that's the soonest we can stand outside and for any length of time and talk about stuff.
Yeah, just in the RBTG grant that I have experience with, nothing could be counted until we were awarded that grant in terms of in-kind. So I still think maybe, I mean, it seems like if Sean, if you have time before our next meeting or the May 1st meeting, to just put like what we need to do, like a really quick little, and maybe this goes with the grant work that you were talking about in your report, but kind of like a, when can we start on this project within the grants that we've applied for, and just maybe a little more information about what our next, it seems like this should be an item on a select, on one of our meetings, and then a little more information about how we make sure that we're tying it into the total project appropriately.
Yeah, I'm at a disadvantage in that I just found out about this just now. I did not have a chance to review, and Jeff's going to have to help, you know, just give some feedback. I think your comment in regards to if we started now, can it be counted as match? My understanding on that one is no, but that, don't take that to mean, you know, we can't navigate the process. Again, I'm at a disadvantage. I got to have Jeff help. He knows, he's really evaluated and studied the details of the RDBG grant. and would know, these level of these questions, the answers to some of these questions that are coming up right now. Obviously, the effort to get going on this is really valuable. So we want to just make sure it jives. And I guess the key point I would make right now is checking in with Jeff. We just want to make sure we're not jeopardizing a potential future award, right? That's the broad, 20,000 foot item. And then we, the select board is already committed to using some reserve funds. So, we can make a go of it. I gotta get feedback from Jeff. That's the key thing for this evening.
So let's hit it next time. I think next meeting would be preferable to the one after for me, but if possible. And Sherry, if you could connect Sean in any future conversations, I think that would be helpful too. Get this kind of.
Something's happening to your mic because you're going in and out.
I'm just getting tired. If you could, Sherry, if you could.
I shared the information with Sean, so all that information is there. And if you want to send that on to Jeff, or if you want me to, or whatever.
Oh, I will. This operational issue, and I'll take care of reaching out to Jeff. I'm reminded of what happened earlier in the meeting. We had an item on the table where we didn't have time to review it, and everybody decided we were going to table it. So that's just, I need more time. I can't react on some of these things this evening.
No, I think we're just asking to get back to it next.
Absolutely. I'm in agreement there. We want to get this rolling.
No,
It's really
I had
important.
no expectation that we'd make any decisions tonight. I just was excited to have found some information about how we actually attempt to do this process where the public is involved, because I had no idea.
And with a lower price tag than
I
could have
really
anticipated.
I couldn't imagine that it would be not that much, so.
Great. Well, thank you, and continue to work forward and coordinate with Sean, and we'll revisit it next time. All right. Looking back, other new business. Unfortunately, I have one thing, just unfortunately because I'm tired, but which I've mentioned. So I had a request from Adam Rosenberg, the superintendent of OSSU, who, in light of, it's come up several times in our meeting, in light of the increased caseload of COVID-19 in our region, he's requesting just issuing a joint statement from his office representing the schools, from the select board representing the town, and from the Hardwick Health Center, that just says basically, keep social distancing, wearing masks, and hang in there because we are distributing vaccines. And I could read that letter. I think it's in our packet. I'm sorry, I just got it today, and it just went in there late.
Well, you forwarded it to us. I mean,
I did?
I got a chance to read it.
Oh, great.
I don't know if everybody did, but I did. Yeah.
And Casey put it in the board folder, Eric.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Do you want it read back, Eric, or not?
Sure.
I have it if you would. Do you want me to read it back? Okay, so to members of the greater Hardwick community, we're all tired of COVID and want nothing more than life to return to normal. It seemed that we were very close, but unfortunately cases are on the rise once again. This is likely due to several factors. Because Vermont has done so well with controlling infections, most people are still susceptible. Variant strains are circulating that are more contagious. The relaxing of social distancing rules and pandemic fatigue. With increasing cases, we run the risk of having to tighten the spigot once again. This could mean restricting social gatherings even more, closing schools, limiting visitation of the elderly in nursing homes or patients in hospitals, closing restaurants and other businesses, and further limiting travel. More people will become sick, some will need to be hospitalized, and some will have long-term health issues or even die as a result. Vaccination is working, but we need more time to get vaccines into more arms. We need to remain vigilant, avoid unnecessary interactions, and always mask up. Please consider what is at stake and redouble your efforts to follow the recommended precautions. If we all make personal sacrifices over the next few months, we can slow the rate of COVID infections. This will ultimately bring us more freedom and save lives. We're almost there. We have made it this far. Please try to hang in there for just a little bit longer. That closes the statement.
Thanks. Is that something that we want to, a joint statement we'd like to sign on to as a board?
Sure.
That was written it came from the Hardwick Health Center. So, and I know that Hazen and Craftsbury have struggled recently, right, with COVID cases. So I think that's why Adam brought it up. So,
Do you need a motion?
yeah, we need something.
I move that we also, as the Hardwick Select Board, sign on to the letter so that it's from us as well.
Great. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I have 4 ayes. Abstention, Michael?
No, I said aye.
Oh, you did? Sorry. I'm sorry. So we're all ayes. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. And I do, holy cow. Really, just hang in there. Let's get vaccinated. I want to get vaccinated.
Hey, I get my first shot tomorrow, just saying.
Hey, don't brag. You make me jealous.
No, brag. Be happy for her. Brag.
I'm happy for you. All right. Any other, so last call on reports, new business or old business?
I have a very, very quick old business, Eric.
All right, good.
Most of you have filled out the doodle poll for our joint HED meeting. I sent another reminder email today, but as soon as you can fill out that doodle poll, then we can schedule the meeting. So I appreciate everybody filling out that poll so we can schedule a joint meeting with the Hardwick Electric Department.
Have they filled it out yet? I saw your email.
Most of them have.
Oh, okay, great.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Do you want Kaylee to send out a reminder?
She did.
Oh. Okay.
I just filled it out, Kaylee.
Thank you, Michael.
Did I fill it out?
Yep, I'm not going to name names. You know if you need to fill it out or not.
No,
You're
I
all
don't.
going
Do I need to fill it out?
You do, and so do I.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. I needed somebody to name me. All right.
No, I'm sorry. I lied. I do. You do not. You did
Oh.
fill it out. You were first.
What?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
All right.
You're okay.
All right, good. Okay, anything else? Hearing none, thank you, everybody. And I'm good. If I had a gavel, I would hit it and say adjourn.